This is Pastor Marquise Franklin from New Creation Christian Center presenting to you a word for today by Annisfay. We pray that these short devotionals will impact your life. Now let's tune in.
Hello, this is Harold Franklin, Senior Pastor at New Creation Christian Center with the word for the day. We have three passages today. One is from Mark chapter 12, verses 29 through 31, John chapter 15, verses 9 through 10, and also verse 12, and 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8. And in Mark it says, Jesus answered him, "The first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these." And in John chapter 15, verses 9 through 10, it says, "As the Father loved me, I also have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." And in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8, it says, "Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, or is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails." So the first thing we want to look at is, what is love? Love is not an emotion, as we have heard almost all of our life. Love is a choice. You choose to love the people you love. Now, emotions are definitely part of love, but we all know that emotions are short-term things. They come and they go, but our love is not supposed to come and go. It's supposed to remain. So the first thing we see, that the first commandment is to love God and then to love people. Now in John chapter 15, Jesus says, "If you love me, you will also abide in his love." And then he says, the way you abide in his love is by keeping his commandments. Now, what does it mean to abide? Abide means to remain in, to stay there. A lot of times we hear people say, "Well, I loved my spouse when I first met her, but then about 5 years later, I didn't love her anymore." Why? Because you didn't abide in the love that you had for your spouse. So in order to abide in love, you have to do something. You have to keep the Lord's commandments. Well, what are the commandments of the Lord? The commandments are, first of course, is to love people, but it's also to do those things in the scriptures that have been revealed to us that we're supposed to do. Now let's look at another picture of love from 1 Corinthians chapter 13. It says in verse 4, it says, "Love suffers long and is kind." That means love is always patient. You can't say you love someone and then turn around and not be patient with them. It requires us to be patient with people, because when you love someone, you want the best for them. So even though a person is not doing what they should do, you're supposed to be patient with them so that they can get the message, so that they can grow up and do the things that they're supposed to do. And now this does not mean that you continually give them a license to do wrong, but you're patient in your love and you're steadfast in your love. The new term nowadays is you display tough love. You love them, you're patient with them, but you also require them to do certain things. And look at this, and this is the part I want to get to. Love thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. If you love people, if you love right, you will not rejoice when people do wrong. Your job is to see that they do the right thing, and also that you rejoice in the truth. Some people say, "Well, I just have to lie to my loved ones because I love them. Well, no, that's not love according to this passage. You have to be honest with them so that they can grow and mature. See, the goal is that when you love them, you don't enable them, you don't make them dependent upon you, but you want them to grow so that they can be mature. And truth helps us to mature. So as we're trying to abide in the love of God, abide in the love with other people, we have to do the right thing. We have to keep the commandments that God has given us to keep. And as we do that, our love grows stronger and stronger and stronger. May God bless you this day, and may this be a great day for you.
We pray that this message has encouraged you today. And we invite you to join us Saturday nights at 7 p.m. in the Emerald City Bible Fellowship building located at 7728 Rainier Avenue South, Seattle, Washington, 98118. Once again, that's Saturday nights at 7728 Rainier Avenue South, Seattle, Washington, 98118. If you have any prayer requests, comments, or questions, visit our website, newcreationwa.org, and on there we have our links to our Facebook and Twitter sites as well. We would love to hear from you. God bless you.